special opening day edition of the Barn Baseball Show, and there's nobody better to talk opening day for the Tigers than the head coach of the Tigers, Butch Thompson. Welcome in, War Eagle. Thank you very much. It's an exciting day.
It is an exciting day, opening day. I'm glad to be with you guys. I'm glad to be here 40 feet in the air, the War Eagle wall. So I can't wait for our fans to get in here, and even more importantly, I can't wait to see these Auburn Tigers run out here and get this 25 season kicked off.
And talking about the 25 season, you mentioned yesterday talking to the media how exciting it was for you to have this seating up here on top of the monster, just because of kind of how long you've been trying to get this done and the program's been trying to get this done.
Well, I told you, I also had the opportunity yesterday with Coach Hal Baird, our winningest coach in Auburn baseball history. It was his vision, and those have been the three words that I brought here was attack, legacy, vision. And to see his vision from way back when, with the original ballpark, which was second to none, and this renovation, to be able to get another piece of his vision into Auburn baseball here in 2025, I think it was special for both of us. And hopefully it's special for every guy that ever wore an Auburn uniform and our fans. And this is going to be a general admission place. I can just see our students and whoever takes in a game here or left field, the configuration we've changed there in general admission down the first base line on the second level of the 984 club, they're going to make a difference. And but being here with Coach Baird kind of put it into motion of like how big a deal this is, tying the past in with the present, and now let's get into the future.
In your first 9 years, you got 2 trips to Omaha, you got supers, you got hosting regionals here. There are a lot of ways you grow the program. The expansion of the ballpark is another one of those examples as you go into year number 10. I know this is time to focus on the game and this team, but have you allowed yourself in the offseason to take that 5,000-foot view and to think about the first 9 years here?
Well, I think you can do that. I think that's the telescope, right? And we all should do that, but just can't stay long. I think every now and then you look at a telescope and you keep trying to aim and dream as big as you can, but you better kind of look at that for like 5% of the time, and 95% of your time you need to be back under your microscope, which you need to do daily, looking at everything. And it's time for us to have another season. Let's have a rebound season, because we've had some amazing seasons. And we still had growth this past year, which is just amazing to me, our Auburn family. I mean, 5 sellouts in a row, and this one's bigger than last year and the most ever going into this season. All these things that we renovated, all these spaces have been sold out with our Auburn family. They've continued to come along beside us, actually build a bridge through challenges, and then our former players have continued to do a good job. We had 11 different Auburn baseball players playing a major league game this year. Since 2020, we have the second most MLB debuts of anybody in this amazing Southeastern Conference. And I think 36, former Auburn baseball players about to head to spring training. We're just amazing how the programs continue to grow. So we've done some amazing things on the field, and I'm excited for this team on how they've worked, seem to come together, the consistency with our staff, getting back out here. I think everything's in line for us to have another amazing season.
And talking about the season, kind of getting a little more granular here, you bring in a squad, 3 new starters on opening weekend, all 3 guys not on the roster last year. What was the deciding factor that made you choose these 3 as your starters for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yeah, specifically the strike percentage was high, the experience. Cade Fisher, our first Game 1 starter, come from the SEC. He's pitched in Omaha both years of his career. That means something. Dutton's won a national championship, but they had to earn it here. And that's why I say strike percentage first. They had to earn it and throw the most strikes. They did. If I set that game up and they win the game and they don't get the first opportunity, then who am I as a leader of the program? They've done an amazing job. We got so many of these freshmen we're excited about. Chatterton will draw that first opportunity of that group. But, before that, you might see an Alvarez, you might see a Jackson Sanders, guys that have just absolutely knocked their socks off. We're excited about. But, some of those veterans in the middle of that game have thrown a bunch of strikes too, starting with Hayden Murphy, who's going to get a first chance to be a Blake Burkhalter, hopefully for us this year. Carson Myers, Cam Tilley, Dylan Watts, those are 3 returners that I feel like have thrown more strikes this year and learned a lot from their experience. So hopefully get some return on the investment of those guys being their first year with us last year.
Ike Irish, a first-team all-conference selection. When you talk legacy, what sort of opportunity, what kind of legacy does he have the opportunity to leave?
Yeah, he just got a chance to be a special player. He's been a special player since he's hit campus, and now we're asking him to be a complete player. We're asking him to start at the most premium position there is out there for me, is catching. We're asking him to continue to hit the ball the way he's hit for 2 years, and we're asking him to be a leader of the ball club. So we're asking him to do a pretty complete job, but he's ready for it. He's more equipped than he's ever has been. He embraced it. He's going to call great games for our pitchers, and pitchers got to take ownership and get to the pitch they want. But Ike's doing a big role and a big job, and he won that job. And we have some depth there. We have some guys that can really do it, but Ike gets the first crack at that because he kind of won that position as well. And I think he's just got to focus on others. I think he's never given that bat away. He'll continue to focus on that, but just that leadership component I can't let him let go of, and understanding how important the defense is by playing that catching position.
And on that note of catcher, you have so much depth at that position. Feels like 4 guys that could all be starters in the SEC. It feels like some of your best teams have been the teams that found a guy to kind of be the anchor, like a Nate LaRue behind the plate. How do you balance the need to play all of these guys and get them experience with the goal of winning games in the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge, because a lot of these guys, more than 9's earned an opportunity. Kel Strickland caught a lot last year. To that point, Kel Strickland, Eric Guevara is going to start at third base tomorrow, Cade Ballou. Those guys, I thought we had to play them too much as freshmen last year. Now that the page is turning, we're into 2025, we get a return off that investment. Guevara was about 75% coming off of ACL. Cale was a true freshman catching, so was Ballou. But Ballou, man, he built some confidence by some of the at-bats he had and how he played on the weekends. Guevara, we get a return on the investment because he's led us in hitting ever since. So what seemed to be a challenge for us last year, especially with those 3 guys, is a benefit now. So they're ready to help. And Cale Strickland's ready to help. And how do we get him innings? Because we need to get back and establish winning some ball games. And so we want to play everybody. We're just not going to force it. This is not the YMCA. This is the SEC. But they've earned some playing time. We can't force it. We got to feel like we put a guy in a ball game here early before preseason that they're going to help us win a ball game. We're not just letting them play. And that's the difference between the Southeastern Conference and every other level.
Talk, if you would, Coach, about your staff. A lot of continuity on that staff. Coach Nonamaker, Coach Gross have been with you for several years now, and then Everett Tieford in his second year. Talk about continuity and how you work with that group.
Yeah, I just appreciate those guys. They just absolutely have been great for our players. They stayed in it. These guys absolutely know what they're doing. I'd throw Scott Foxhall in there too. You have 3 guys on our staff that have been National Assistant Coaches of the Year. You got a guy that played in the big leagues. You got a pitching coach that's played in the big leagues, referring to Gabe and Tieford there. We got the right guys. And just I rehearse with our players and talk to them all the time. What do you need more? How's your position coach, et cetera. I think we're in a great place with that. And I appreciate those men that some of these guys have been with us 8 years, in Carl and Gabe. And I would also expand that. College baseball, you don't realize how much time that the strength conditioning coach spends with somebody, and Chris Joyner, and he's been with us that same amount of time, and our trainer, Anthony Sanders, puts in more hours than anybody. One of the strengths of our program, I said it last year, even going through a tough year, is the continuity of that staff. And I think over the long haul that bears out, and that will show.
Speaking of Anthony and Chris, one of the things we've heard a lot this spring has been the physical fitness of Cooper McMurray. He's dropped a lot of weight. He said he wanted to be a more complete baseball player. What do you kind of envision him being able to do at, a higher level this year than maybe he was able to do in previous years at Auburn?
Range and move, and I hope he stays more healthy. We've seen the range and the movement. Man, he makes our other 3 infielders better there because he can just pick a ball. And, he's going to pick 50 or 100 balls a day, part of his routine every day. He's already good at it, keeping that skill locked in. I wonder if it would hurt his power, because that's probably the next question that you would throw out there. But after I've seen him go backside with a home run here in the last couple of weeks, I feel like that checked that box. So I think it makes him a better ball player. I think it makes him more athletic, and I think it can keep him on the field more. So that's huge. Conversely, Ike gained the weight that Cooper lost, and I think to play the grueling, if he's going to try to catch every day, that's going to help him. I think he was in the off season working with some big league catchers and trying to just learn everything he could, which I embrace and I love. And he's like, those guys are big, those guys are physical, those guys are strong, and you got to do it every day in your body to hold up. So what Cooper lost, Ike took, and I think it is going to benefit both players.
Last question: as folks are watching this, we're hours away maybe from first pitch. Does the head coach have game day routines? Are you doing the same thing game after game, or maybe any opening day routines here in year number 10?
I don't. I just try to do things that would keep my mind kind of freed up. So I wake up every morning like, man, who can I help? Where can I make a difference? What are we missing? Opening days are different once you get the establishment of a season going on. So these guys have worked so hard to get this park put together, and just send me your emails. I know we're going to have everything opening day that we have to adjust and get better at. That's fine. That's what we're here for. I just say come. Just come, experience it. It's going to be awesome. And there's so many things that we got to work out on the field, in concession stands, around the ballpark, but we will. Everybody's going to be beautiful, and just come out and enjoy Auburn baseball.
Thank you very much for this visit. Look forward to watching your team all season long.
Thank you, guys. War Eagle.
War Eagle. It's head coach Butch Thompson on a very special opening day edition of the Barn Baseball Show.